Dragon's Dogma 2 came out in 2024 in March. It's been with us over a year. I was a huge fan of Dragon's Dogma 1, and there is a bit of a debate out on how much of a sequel this game actually is. My first review of it was riddled with performance issues, both in quality and on performance, and they named it all wrong. This is covered in the patches. We also have some mention of some pro support, so you now have a balance mode within the graphics section. That's something I can't comment on. This is base level PlayStation 5 footage. I should have got to this after one solid year. That would have made a better thumbnail, to be fair, but I got a bit busy. I do have a deep passion for the game. I don't think any other Capcom title gets me this riled up, with the main campaign being quite difficult to follow, having to go to a lot of wiki to just work out what the hell to do. Some quests were glitching out, not main ones but side ones. You weren't able to complete them. The pawn was not behaving properly. It wasn't the most glamorous of releases, and they have tried to sort of clamber back. That's why I feel it's a good time to roll out another video about its performance and about what's been happening on the patch front.
What are you doing? We've not been given leave to rest yet.
I'm well aware of that, thank you.
First things first, we're going to go into the quality mode, which is what you're looking at here, which includes ray tracing, runs at a high resolution, but you have a variable or a 30 frames per second option. The variable is a massive state and just falls over frame wise all the time, particularly in populated areas, but worst off in combat. So that one is something I want to hear back from on the pro owners, because I imagine you're all migrating to balanced, but be safe in the knowledge that the quality is not quality on the base level PS5. So we switch over to the locked 30, which is definitely a better deal.
This is generally used as a material.
Different combinations of materials result in different creations.
I just want to give in a nutshell what the attraction is with this Dragon's Dogma system, and it's probably the pawn rotation setup where you can get other players' developed NPC characters into your game. You have two slots and you have your permanent pawn. This allows you to see like loads of other builds, and there's a huge emphasis on the mage and range archer. They're called vocations. The early footage of this video has got me as a full-blown sword and shield brawler, but I do switch over to the bow, which I was very pleasantly surprised with. So the last one I probably need to test is some of the sorcery. That may be another video, because there is a wealth of content hidden behind those vocations. I'm talking about the abilities and how that combat drastically changes with what direction you want to go in. I think the autosave system is working a little bit better as well. That whole load last save doesn't put you back 18 hours of gameplay. I'm not talking about start from the last in, I'm talking about the top option. It used to sometimes eliminate loads of gameplay and put you really far back. That one's tightened up. I feel a lot more confident into bowling into a fight and then losing it, and not suffering being set back to the tutorial stage. So this is combat in that quality mode with that 30 FPS lock on. What is the attraction with the quality mode in this game? Well, you've got ray tracing in here, and it being quite a beautiful open world, that is quite a plus. And you've got a pretty high resolution. But personally, for me, and I feel this might just be a base level PlayStation 5 thing, it is not very workable, both in or out of combat, because it will start stuttering, even walking around that wilderness. Another attraction for me is the combat in general and the grab mechanic, being able to grab smaller monsters and throw them around or hold them up for a kill or even clamber up a bigger boss. All this stuff's very good. And the later abilities on that fighter vocation, they're really good. I enjoy it. It doesn't have a lock-on button and you do have a parry pushback. There's some slowdown in here. It's very dramatic and quite pretty even in the quality mode.
Early Griffin gets slow.
Things are obviously still bearable on a performance front, and you can turn a blind eye to the smaller sections that dip in frames, but it's a bit annoying that even at a pegged 30 it still has some issues. And I think everybody is well aware that this game does require some more work. But on the plus side, on the vocation front, they've added that warrior greatsword like class and the sorcerer class. There's also some paid DLC stuff out there which I haven't looked at. So you've got 2 more as standard on base game.
This battle is ours!
No one does killer green jelly like Dragon's Dogma 2. That stuff was pretty damned amazing. Okay, 6 minutes. Come on, get onto the performance mode. Now, I've been playing a lot of games this year. A lot of games between the launch of this and coming back to it. So I go marching into the options, which you have to do on the title screen to change the graphics mode. And I'm like, off we go. Let's have 60 FPS. Let's have 1080, whatever. Bro, it's 30 FPS or variable. It's the damn same 2 options that you have in quality mode. That one, I'm not sure that should be around in 2025 on the 9th generation system. And then it dawned on me that this game was built at performing at 30 frames per second across the board. It completely escaped me. I remember it being like this big disaster for them on social media. Everyone was just laughing that, you know, in 2024 we had 30 FPS on a brand new AAA video game. A lot of the pushback on that was this engine complication. You know, it's been upgraded, there's loads of detail everywhere. It's huge, it's more open world than the first game, even though the majority of locations are identical. But that was the comeback, and they do have a point, to be fair. I love the engine, the detail, the dissipation, how the rocks can be pushed around, thrown around, how everything can technically spray up some damage off the ground when there's impacts. The trees flutter and bend when a griffin comes into land, so it's not devoid of complication on a visual front, and I just think the price to pay for that is 30 FPS on a base level PlayStation 5.
Curative magics are at your disposal. Wait right there.
So just so we're clear on that one, the variable option in the performance mode is all over the shop. What I thought that might be is that it's pushing for 60 and dipping a bit. But it must be, what, pushing for above 30 and then dipping a bit. Digital Foundries, why have we got Digital Foundries? Well, we don't have to listen to you guessing numbers. Well, I feel, you know, the proof's in the gameplay and how that feels to the normal untrained eye. Variable is not workable in performance. There's my professional opinion. This is just a bit of footage of me outgrowing one of my guest pawns. At some point, you have to swap them out because they don't level up like you do. So you have to say goodbye, give them a little gift, and it tells you how many days they were with you. Quite an emotional one for me. I need to get out more. Back to this performance thing. I think the reason it's hit me so hard is I'm doing all of that when Ubisoft were good, the PlayStation 4s that never got the 5, over on PC at 60, a pegged 60. Stuff like The Division, Watch Dogs 2.
Go fuck yourself.
They run impeccably compared to something like this, but that's because they're older and because of the PC power. And I think this performance mode, locked 30 FPS, stays pegged when it needs to. Let's have a look at some of the bigger monsters, because that's when things can get really hairy, pun intended. We've still got some really good reflections and some really amazing effects climbing on that thing and the size of it. And yeah, it hasn't scrambled around too much on performance with this. And that's quite important with the bigger monsters, because you've got a lot to do and concentrate on. Did you mention something about looking at the archer vocation? Was that just hyperbole? No, we will look at that. I just want to be the man about town in my new bucket winged helmet. Absolutely glorious. Yes, all armors are different for the vocations. You've got to strip it all down, put it in a storage box. It is a bit of a headache. Could I please ask for minimal ridicule in the comments about my primitive archer vocation build? I actually got bitten by the game's bug all over again. I was not aware of how cool a vocation it is, and you've got the Way of the Bowman, or whatever it's called, quest line, haven't you, with Legolas, and you go to that like royal elf village. Not terrible stuff at all, apart from the fact that I got stuck at the end because you're supposed to drag a woman out of there. It's not made obvious. Straight back onto Vextra life. I was a little bit fearful that moving away from the ray tracing onto that performance mode would take something away from all that cool nighttime lantern shadows, that sort of thing. But no, it isn't that big a poke in the eye. Are you saying that Archer Vocation has reinvigorated your love for the game? And that is actually the case to a certain extent. It does have a little dash on square, which took me a while to figure out. You have to be running, and you do release an arrow at the end of it, but it's definitely a Monster Hunter nod. And you also have focus shots and barrage shots. Everything has to be manually aimed as well, which adds to the excitement. I'm just looking at some of the major updates on that 2.01, which was just after me doing the initial video, which was handy, and that is in prices have been put down quite majorly, and the fairy stones, and of course massive improved pawn behaviour, which I can see the fruition of. That in price thing is invaluable because it was extortionate to get your full health bar back.
I'll take that. We might find a use for it.
No sense letting the enemy gain the upper hand. Early tripping gets the world, as they
The patch you were looking at is the one from the 28th of last month, so this is 3.002. I do feel there is need for a bit more on the performance front, and I'm super keen to see what PS4 Pro owners are still saying about it in the comments, and it might be an incentive to get that machine. I'm just annoyed that one of the best 7th and 8th gen party RPGs sequel won't run on a 9th gen system properly without having to slap on a massive Pro enhanced investment. But for me, that's more reason to stick with it, so there will be more content, and I will start exploring more vocations because the warrior and sorcery build seems very attractive. Could you let me know if you also struggle with that main quest line and having to read those vague as hell descriptions about what to do or where to go next? I thought the original Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen DLC was actually pretty amazing, so I'm kind of holding out for the equivalent over on the sequel. So it's certainly not over between us and Dragon's Dogma 2. There will be more content on the way. Please remember to like and subscribe. My name was Couch Coop, and of course, I'll see you down there.